Go ahead, pause it.
Perfect.
Okay. We are recording, and it says preparing live streaming preview. Feels so good.
Says recording.
Oh my goodness. And we get to title it, and we get to tag. You said Kendall?
Yeah, Kendall Merritt.
Kendall Merritt. Here we go. All right, it's the preview, and I'm going to press go live.
Yay! We are live on Facebook. Hello, everyone.
My gosh. Feels so good. Hello, Facebook
so good.
family. Oh, feels so juicy. So before we begin, Kendall, just thank you so much for being here and for sharing your light with my Facebook community and people on the interwebs.
My pleasure. It is such an honor to be here. So thank you so much for creating this container and creating the space to have such powerful conversations. It's an honor to be here with you.
Oh my gosh, yes. I am fired up, and I was telling Kendall before we got on live that this is what Heart to Heart is all about. It's about bringing those conversations that maybe are taboo, or maybe that we're all feeling, but we don't talk about it in the open, we're bringing it out into the world and shining light on it, literally. So here we are, and the topic for today is activating your light through soul-centered sexuality.
It makes me so excited because this is like what I'm meant to do in the world, and I'm so honored to share this with you.
So let's start there. I mean, activating your light, soul-centered sexuality, like that in itself, the title is a lot. So what does it mean to activate your light?
Oh, that's a really big, this is a big title, a big topic. When we started this conversation and you're like, Kendall, I want to have you on Heart to Heart, it fucking so clearly came through of, okay, this is the title. It's activating your light through soul-centered sexuality. And this is what I do. This is how I show up in the world. So for us to really start to think about this, we are naturally energetic beings, right? So you can believe that we are these spiritual beings that are perfect, divine, and energetic in all the ways, and we're really having this human experience. And part of that human experience means that we have a human body that goes with it. And so there's a lot of light on the planet right now. So as a collective consciousness is rising because there's so much light being brought onto the planet. And we're looking for ways that we can really activate that light within us and stand up and show up in our fullest expression. And when we're doing that as these energetic bodies, we're trying to figure out how to do it from the human perspective. And the human perspective comes with all the range of the emotions, all the range of experiences, where we like to think of things as good, bad, right, wrong. We look at things through contrast. We have these past experiences of how we were raised and how we learn through social media. And we're really just trying to figure out, okay, how do I step into and remember my true soul presence and stand in that light and stand in that power? And so this is where sexuality comes in. So soul-centered sexuality is really about moving from that soul remembrance place to really remember that we are in this place of light. And so when we start to think about sexuality, people get nervous. They're like, oh, you're going to talk about sex? Wait, what? Nope, we don't have that conversation in real life. Yet most people are having sex. Where did you come from? Your parents had to have sex for you to come here onto this planet. For 90% of most human beings on the planet, that's how you got here. So we're having this conversation because sexuality is fundamental to the human experience, and it gets to be that bridge between the divine, energetic, spiritual self that we are and this human experience. And so when we can start to really shift the shame and remove some of the guilt from how we are used to associating with sexuality, we can start to look at sexuality for what it is. It is pure, radiant light, life force, creative energy. And so that's how we get to move from this place of activating the light within us through soul-centered sexuality, is by choosing how we associate with it, choosing how we really start to connect with this energy and allow us to deeply connect with ourselves and deeply connect in partnership with the people that we are spreading our light with. And just because sexuality is a very intimate part of our lives, it can still be used as an energetic presence for us to show up and radiate our own magnetic presence in life overall.
Oh, I love that. And especially, it's so key, the remembering, right? Because it's like, that is who we are, that we're born with that light. And I think over time, it's that shame, it's that guilt. Things just get piled on. And so that it brings me to, I mean, one of my questions that I got through Instagram actually was around like, how do you stop feeling guilty, especially as a woman, and when you're in your feminine nature and have sexual urges? Like, how do you get rid of that shame and guilt that maybe is there present?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And I'm so grateful for the person who sent that in. And I want to first admire the courage to ask that question. So also the courage for you, Marissa, to create the container and have this conversation. It does take a place of bravery and confidence to be able to step into this place and say, how do I start to embrace and integrate and embody this part of me that is really not separate from any other area in my life? And so I think the key to think about when we start to look at sexuality and where this guilt and shame comes from is really start to look at your journey. Where have you come from? What is your past experience with sexuality been? And for some people, sexual energy carries a lot of negative, kind of darker energy associated with it. And so that's the doorway. That's the beautiful gift of the human experience, is that we get to experience contrast. So we can see things and we can have a certain experience with sexuality, and we may say, this doesn't feel very good. It feels kind of dense. It feels kind of heavy, feels guilt and shameful. And it doesn't feel like me. It's not how I want to experience this. This is that beautiful gift of contrast, where we get to step into a place where we can see, where do I want to experience this connection with sexuality? How do I actually desire for it to feel? What do I want my ideal sexual expression to feel like? So without the darkness and the density and the heaviness, we don't have the contrast to be able to recognize what we do want to experience. And so to first start by acknowledging the human experience, we each have our own unique curriculum, our own unique experience, our own soul contracts of the lessons that we are meant to live and learn on this planet. And for a lot of people, one of the big lessons that we're here to learn and to shift is our guilt and shame around sexuality. So when we can make that shift and recognize, this is a lesson that is providing a doorway for me to walk in and really sit with this lesson and sit with the emotions, sit with the discomfort of vulnerability in our sexuality, and to say, where is this discomfort coming from? Where is the guilt associated from? What past experiences have added on those layers to, if we say, open up your box, like, what are the things that are making it really heavy and really dusty that we need to open up the box and dust it off, blow it off, and say, okay, what do I want this experience to be? But we have to first start honoring that as part of our human experience, and choosing the perspective that our sexual energy is natural, it's beautiful, it's powerful, it is that creative life force energy. I just got chills over my whole body. It is one of the most powerful energies that we have access to at our fingertips every single day. So this is the gift, is if you choose to associate your sexual energy with that natural creative life force power, you can then start to shift the guilt and shift the shame, because you can step into that power and receive pleasure. So it is part of our human experience to give and receive pleasure, to start to feel the energy, feel the emotions, feel the sensations that are associated with our sexuality and with receiving pleasure. And that is where the bridge comes in. So we'll bring it full circle. That's how we get these divine downloads of who we are meant to be in this life and how we show up in our fullest expression. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and then some. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful, because I think about you, and from knowing you, I know that this isn't where you were maybe even a couple years ago. And so just the concept of the journey, right? And choosing our perspective. So I would love for you to share kind of where you were before around sexuality in particular, and how you got to this place of activating your light through soul-centered sexuality.
Thank you. It would be my honor to share. And we all have these unique journeys that we are on this planet. We all have these different experiences that are unique to us. And our journey is absolutely perfect as it is. You are these beautiful, perfect human beings, and the journey and the experience that you have had in your life is meant for you. And so it's taken a lot of work for me to really step into that power and embrace the journey that my life has been on. And you're right on. I definitely have not just naturally been in this place where like connected with soul-centered sexuality was so natural. And for me, sexuality was something I was always super fascinated with. I was always intrigued by it, even from the time I was in middle school and I was like dressing too sexy for being in middle school. I was like, hey, like what's going on? I was really starting to like step into this confidence and this natural urges and desires and things that I had. And I grew up in a very Catholic household. I went to 13 years of Catholic school, and sexuality, especially from the religious background, is very shamed, and it's not something that you're taught to embrace. And so as I was going through this journey, I was in an all-girls Catholic high school, and even though I was working through my confidence and using my sexuality, it wasn't always for good. And at that time, when I was a freshman in high school, I got pregnant. So I got pregnant as a 15-year-old freshman in high school in an all-girls Catholic school. And I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? So talk about the guilt and the shame and the judgment that was associated through that. And I had to really work through that journey on my own. And thankfully, I have an incredible support system. My parents were incredibly supportive of me, where they were able to pass the accountability and responsibility of the choices that I had made onto me, where I was able to make a choice. And so I made a choice to have my daughter and put her up for open adoption. So she's almost 15 now, and I have an incredible relationship with her. But just because I went through that life-changing, soul-impacting experience, I didn't just wake up with this awareness of sexuality and the power of my sexuality. I had to go through my own journey of learning how to honor my unique presence and my own power, where I went through abusive relationships and really trying to own my sexuality and thinking that just because I had a great sex life and I could sleep with whoever I wanted and have these magical orgasms, it didn't mean that I was necessarily honoring myself. And so we went through this journey of awakening and learning and really starting to honor myself. And I went through a long period of time where I was single, and I was not in a place where I was going to call anybody in unless they were going to honor who I was, how I showed up in the world, and what my values were. And so through that work, I was able to call in my soul partner. And my partner he's been the catalyst to me stepping into this work, because he's so supportive, and the magic that we've seen in terms of transformation and soul-centered, radical heart space opening, it's just been so heart opening in so many levels. And so he was really the catalyst to let me step into this work. And that was the catalyst to leave my corporate speaking and training and coaching career, where I decided to start my own business. And so that was where Soul Saturations was born, was really out of the necessity to have this conversation with people, to really help people remember what soul-centered sexuality is all about and how to truly step into a place of activating our light through soul-centered sexuality.
So good. Yeah. And I mean, I'll just be a witness. I love seeing you and Matt and just your relationship dynamic and learning from you, and just huge role models in that way. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, he has really helped me step into my divine feminine, because he's so rooted in the divine masculine, and it creates such a potent, energetic place of polarity and place for growth. I mean, we're learning and growing every single day together. And so we're all on this journey, and who knows where we're going to be in 10 years. So
yeah, so true.
Like that.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's so important now more than ever to be talking about and to be learning how to activate our light through stepping into soul-centered sexuality. Because I mean, look at the world, and you're talking about these things like power and our essence and remembering who we are. And so how does one do that if they're watching this live and they're thinking, yeah, that's great, Kendall, but it's all like up here. Like, how do I actually tangibly do that in my life?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. So first of all, is just remembering that on the planet, this is all energy. So we're natural energetic beings, the energy on the planet. We have to really start by thinking about the different spheres of energy and how that influences us to allow us to step into that power. So for us to get really crystal clear in our own container, we have to recognize the energy of us. So our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our own unique energetic expression. And when we can get really clear on that, and even when we're in this place of learning and we're not clear, our energy influences the sphere of influence around us. So you are part of my sphere of influence and vice versa. The people on your Facebook community, the people in your life, your day-to-day life, your friends, your family, that's your direct sphere of influence, and your energy can ripple out and affect them, just as that energy of that sphere of influence ripples out into the collective consciousness, onto the energy of the planet. So our energy ripples out. The energy of the planet also ripples back into our sphere of influence, which ripples back into us. And so for us to really connect with our soul-centered sexuality, it first starts by recognizing the energy of you and getting really clear with what is the purpose of you connecting with soul-centered sexuality. So this is the most fundamental foundation of how I coach people, whether I'm coaching corporate executives in stepping into honoring their own power of presence in a professional container, or if I'm coaching people individually. I always look through these three lenses of first understanding what is the purpose. So why is it important for you to connect with your soul-centered sexuality? Why is the purpose, the vision, what is truly at the root of this experience for you, and why is it important? The next piece is to look at what's the intention. How do you want your energy to be received? What perception do you want to give off into the world? How do you want to go about? What intentions do you want to set? How do you want to go about connecting with your soul-centered sexuality? How do you want to connect with soul-centered sexuality with somebody else? What intentions do you have of that being received? What's that desired intention? And then the last piece is, what's the impact? So once you actually step into and integrate and embody this soul-centered sexuality, what's the impact going to be? What actually happens? What are the results? How are you going to be received in the world? That's where we come back to the energetic ripple effect. Is the energy of you, how is it going to ripple out to your sphere of influence and ripple out onto the planet, so that we can create healing from the inside out? So that's the first piece, is start to reflect with purpose, intention, and impact. And the next place is to really think about tuning into your own energy. As you're tuning into your own energy, honoring your sexual energy for being as potent and powerful and creative life force as it is, we have different centers in our body where we can start to tune in and start to bring awareness and presence to this energy. So the first place where we spend a lot of our time is in our head. As human beings, we live up here in our mind. We're constantly thinking about things, what's going to happen, what's going to do this. So to really bring that awareness to our energetic field of our mind is one place where we want to start to have what we like to call a full yes. So tuning in your mind, yes, does this feel good? Does this feel like something you should be doing? Does this feel in flow or in alignment for you? So starting off in your head, then if we move down, we move into our heart space, where this is where you are very, very connected, is moving into your heart space. But feeling that expression of love and respect and like heart opening warmth, does it feel like a yes? Or are you maybe feeling a little bit of constriction there? So head, heart. Next, if we move lower in our physical body, we would move into our gut, which is where we house our intuition, our belly spaces, where they say, trust your gut. That's where you can tune into that gut feeling emotion. So do you feel that intuitive ping that says, yes, you should do this? Or are you getting that little gut feeling that's like, maybe this isn't a good idea? So that would be the next center. And then where most people associate their sexuality is within their sex center. So down within our pelvic floor, our sexual organs, that's where people tend to think with their sex center. But really, that's just one center of our body. So our goal is to really start to move this energy and create a sense of flow from our sex center through our belly to our heart and to our mind. So that's a really simple way to just tune in. And if one of those centers is out of alignment, it gives you a doorway to reflect and say, what else do I need to know here? What is going to make me feel more in flow? What would make me feel more connected? Or maybe this isn't something I should be doing. And when you can check in on, do you have a full yes? That will influence your decision-making skills to be able to say, it could be in relationships, it could be in what type of bread are you going to buy at the grocery store? It could be any number of things, but tuning in to get that full sense of flow is a really powerful way. And then I have one more tip and trick for you of how to really connect with soul-centered sexuality and really use it as a way to activate your light. Is I love to give people 3 really simple rules. And so again, these rules are simple yes, no rules. They're very simple, but they're not always easy. And so we can use these rules when we're dating someone, when we're in partnership and relationship, maybe we're using them in our career and in our workplace to say, is this the type of job that I want? Is this the type of project or new client that I want to bring on? We can use them in our relationships with our friends and just day-to-day like human interaction. So the 3 rules are very simple. The first rule is number 1, don't settle. You are so worthy to receive, to feel honored on so many different levels. So number 1, remember, don't settle. In any area of your life, it's very simple. Are you settling? Yes or no? So number 1 is don't settle. Number 2 is to feel honored. This is an absolute pillar in what I coach and how I speak and how I live my life, but moving from a place of honor, of honoring ourselves for our highest, fullest expression of who we are as human beings, we deserve to feel honored in all areas of our life. So are we feeling a sense of love and respect and appreciation and gratitude? Those are fundamental things that people can start to associate with feeling honored. Because if you're not feeling honored in any type of relationship or any type of interaction, you don't need to be there. We are in this life to spread light. And so if you're not feeling light in a situation, start to rethink that. So number 1, don't settle. Number 2, feel honored. And then the third one is one of my favorites, have fun. We are here in this life to have so much fun, move from our heart space, move and flow. And when we can be really connected with soul-centered sexuality and sensuality, life is just more fun. It feels good. Like life is a beautiful thing that we can access and spread and radiate light into. And so make sure you're having fun on an everyday basis. So those would be my top couple of tricks to tune in with soul-centered sexuality and sensuality. So purpose, intention, and impact, reflect on that first. Connect, make sure you've got a full yes in all the 4 energetic centers of your body, and then follow those 3 rules. Don't settle, feel honored, and have fun.
And it's so good because not only does it apply, you know, to like the actual like sexuality part of it, but like you said, you can take it into all areas of your life. In fact, you know, like in order to be in alignment totally, you do want to bring it into your career, bring it into your relationships, family, like whatever it is. And I hear in that just so much awareness and reflecting and asking yourself these questions to really gauge where are you at and where do you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So part of it is, again, honoring our human experience. Where you are exactly in this present moment is perfect. Everything that you have experienced in your past has been for you to see the light and to see all those different areas that you can shift and change and improve in your life to really help step into that full evolution of your highest self. And where you're going is absolutely just the most light-filled, heart-centered, soul-centered place that you can be. So
Yes, 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 yes. And
oh no, are you frozen?
Uh-oh, am I? Hello? Oh no. I might be, Wi-Fi might be down. Oh snap. Hmm.